Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the 24/7 Sim Services ANZCAR Cup here live on the ANZCAR Facebook page and Performance streaming over on YouTube. Welcome to round 12 of the championship here at the track that is just way too tough to tame, Darlington itself. I am, as ever, Carl Wilkinson with you. Joining me up in the booth tonight, I have Mark Johansson. Mark, how are you going, mate?
Good, mate. Good, and you?
Not bad at all. And as ever on cameras, we have Mr. Matt Hunter. How are you going, Matt?
Yeah, good, Carl. Thank you.
The man that pushes everyone's buttons.
Very much so.
I don't try to push people's buttons, but I guess I do. Whoops.
We are here at Darlington, and it is the throwback round of the championship as well. So you're going to see a lot of different liveries out there tonight. So expect us to make some missed calls as we call the wrong car as it's a different colour. Just quickly before we get into the start of everything, we're just going to run through the championship standings as well. With the beautiful new graphic for that one. So it is Brenton Hobson in the lead of the championship. 10 points ahead of Andrew Dyson in second. Neil Pearson sits in third position, 50 points off the lead. Jason Martin in fourth, 72 down. Fifth is Michael Skurlock, 77 off the lead. Sixth, we have Edward Foster, 79 down. Seventh is Brad Allison, 110 points off the lead. Eighth is Micklemore, 113 down. Luke Trahere sits in ninth, 121 down. And Gary Wellman, top of the top 10, 127 off the lead. So championship, as you can see, well in there for the top 10. Quite a few spots that are quite close to each other, but a big lead out front for Hobson and Dyson.
Yeah, it's definitely starting to get a little bit of a gap there at the top. But at early days, mate, round 12, and there's still a long way to go to decide the champion.
Yeah, well, there's still about 400 races left, isn't there, of the season? So plenty of action to come. Plenty of time to close up those gaps. And, of course, drop rounds and things like that, they can all change things up. As we say, it is the 12th round of the season. It is getting exciting. And, look, Darlington, always a tricky place to drive. The lady in black, she is not... she's not forgiving, is she, Mark?
Sorry, mate. I just had some words in the background. We've got one or two drivers on the server that's got some internet issues. So sorry, mate. I missed that. I'm just yeah. I don't know whether we're going to see Barry Neal take the green because his internet is playing up something bad, and he's coming racing from New Zealand. So we may see a few miss the green flag.
That will be a shame indeed. It's never fun when that happens, especially when you've had a good qualifying session here at Darlington. We'll quickly run through the start order. I'll ask you that question again in a little bit, Mark. Don't worry.
Yep.
But let's go for the starting grid itself as the cars pull up on the grid here at Darlington. It is Pearson taking pole position. Martin on his outside on the first row. Second row is Hedesheed and Hobson. Third row is Dyson Foster. Fourth row is Williams and Micklemore. Fifth row is that man, as we said, Barry Neal and Darren Lobb. Sixth row is Witcher and Jones. Seventh is Skurlock and Curtis. Eighth row is Russell and Danica Douglas. Eighth row is Clark and Jaeger. Ninth row we have Nankervis and Spencer. 10th is Jackson and Raymond. 11th is Trahere Griffiths. Koch, Fenley, Otto, Tompkins, Phelps and Wellman rounds out the 30 cars out there tonight. So a stacked pack out there from top to tail. A lot of cool looking paint jobs as well. Some real classics and retro throwbacks, which is great. A couple of people using retro team liveries. I know Matty Ray is using his first ever win in the ANZCAR series from a Thunder race at Talladega, I think it was. But he's racing that one tonight, back in the days when he was racing with Mr. Matty Hunter himself. What's he do?
I can tell you what, Carl, that top 8 is some heavy hitters in there, with Dyson, Foster, Hedesheed, and the likes. It's going to be a tough start.
It is, and it's good to see Martin back on form as well. Martin back up at the front again. We've got red and purple up at the front, but Martin back towards the front again. He's been struggling in this next-gen car, but he seems to be getting it under control now and working his way back towards the front of the field, and that's dangerous for the rest of the pack. Pace car will peel in here, and we will be getting ready to go green here at Darlington Raceway for race 12 of the 24/7 Sim Services for the ANZCAR Cup of 2022, and it is green and away we go. Good start there for Pearson. He gets away strongly. Just catches Martin just napping slightly, which gives Heddershide a chance to get underneath him here. Martin on the outside, he's sticking up high at the moment, manages to hold the position behind Heddershide and keep Hobson behind him critically.
Michael Skurlock coming under fire there in the background. He's already lost 2 spots.
Yeah, pulling back quickly, and I can see Barry Neal did start the race, but he started from pit lane, so he decided to start the pit lane. Let's see how that carries on. Hopefully it fixes itself. As we know with these things, sometimes it's a little issue that's easily fixed by asking your partner to get off Netflix or kicking the modem or something like that. But this is the mechanical problems of racing in a sim racing world, of course, is you can get issues such as internet issues rather than, say, mechanical issues such as cars braking.
Yeah, definitely, mate. It looks like they've all just settled down for this early part of the race. Got to get some heat into these tyres, and then we'll see some probably some desperate moves towards the later stages of the race, with people trying to duck down on and use that low line. But that's definitely not the fast way around here at Darlington.
Hobson just taking advantage of that low line on Martin. He just does a beautiful pass down the inside, catches Martin and just gets past him. And now we've got 2 of the good old boys in ANZCAR, Jason Martin and Edward Foster, nose to tail at the moment between Hobson and Dyson. 2 of those fresh batch that have come in and really shaken things up. And so it's going to be interesting to see how that race continues, because they have been really pushing each other, and you know, some of these fresh guys really want to be pushing. There's contact there between Foster and Martin. Just a little bit of door rubbing between Martin and Foster there. Just the slightest touch, not anything major. They both keep going, luckily, but just a little bit of contact.
Yeah, what's Darlington without a bit of rubbing though?
Well, rubbing is racing, son. That is very true. And look, door-to-door contact like that is what we love about stock cars. Is you can get away with it, and as long as you don't push it too hard, you can absolutely have a bit of fun with it. Dave Douglas making a move on Justin Witcher. He gets a bit deep, and he gets the Darlington stripe there, getting up into the wall. He gets a stripe on the side of that car, or I say she gets a stripe on that car. Miss Danica Douglas doing a great job tonight.
Yeah, Miss Douglas will be all right so long as she lets go of the steering wheel in the track.
We'll have to see if that happens, if Douglas does have a crash there. Check in on the old med centre afterwards. Hopefully no damage done to her wrists. Jason Martin getting passed by Foster now. Foster working his way up through the field in a very cool retro livery Atari sponsored car.
That's some unusual colours there for Ed, the pink and purple.
Yeah, pink, purple, blue. It's going to. I'm trying to figure out the actual colour scheme and trying to figure out if I know whose it is, but I can't actually at the moment. So
It's a throwback to I think Jeff Burton Exide battery paint.
Yes.
I think that's the trouble is you guys commentate and so try and remember the throwback colours sometimes. It's hard to do. A bit of a battle happening a little bit further back as Jones has got Scullock all over the back of him. Stevie Dub, Darren Lobb having a bit of racing as well. Of course, Darren Lobb podium last time out, getting up in 3rd position, all a little bit further back, a little bit of contact from Riley Curtis and Justin Witcher. Just missed each other, but very close to each other there, and Witcher taking that position. And Douglas just pulling down a little bit there and dropping back a little bit, getting a bit of a clean view on Skurlock as he goes up into the wall, gets a big stripe on the front of that car. I think Ryan Jones also did the same thing. Both of those cars getting really tight in turn 4 and just scraping along the wall and getting the old Darlington stripe on the front.
Yeah, from what I've heard, the cars are pretty tight after just a few laps. Comes pretty hard to get it turning in. So
yeah, this new generation, the 7th Gen Cup car, tends to get really tight. Anyway, as Jones and Williams are battling out as well, I think Stevie Dove just might have made a bit of a mistake there. He's just dropped an awful lot of positions out of a single corner. And yeah, he gets up into the wall and actually has a little bit of tight bit of rubbing against his teammate Darren Lobb. Those two making contact with each other, but that's dropped him down just in front of Danica Douglas. 2 green mean machines next to each other there though. So that's going to be a hard one to keep an eye out for, because it's going to be easy to mistake one of those cars for the other.
One of them will have hair flowing out the car window, mate.
Yeah, this is true. I do hope Douglas is wearing a wig tonight in honour. I'll have to check out the stream later on.
I'm just going through the cars. Another nice looking car is the Valvoline car of Norman Clark. That looks rather nice too.
Yeah, really cool job on that one as well. It's Vintaraline, we could call it as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Good old Mark Martin.
Yes, Mark Martin.
There we go.
And the car behind, the Looney Tunes, and that suits Jamie Nankervis down to the T. He is a bit of a Looney Tune.
Absolutely. 100% suits his personality. Yeah, there's some really cool schemes out there tonight. Yeah. And it's great to see people getting involved in this and really putting some effort in as well. Some really big efforts put into a lot of these colour schemes, because it's not easy to paint up a car. A lot of these boys do it themselves, and you know, it's a lot of hard work to actually get these cars looking as good as they do.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Ruben Phelps, whose Throwback's paint scheme's that? Is that a Dale car? The grey and the black.
I'd say it's probably inspired by it.
Yeah. Very similar to a Dale livery.
Yeah. And I know Brad's running one that's very similar. Always inspired by a senior.
Yeah, they've done well as well, integrating the sponsors and the team names into their into the colour schemes as well. They've sort of matched them up perfectly, which is really, really cool.
I definitely think I'm going to have a talk to Paul Jackson about that Castrol with that purple wheels.
Oh, it looks fantastic. It's a beautiful thing to see. The Toyota Gazoo Racing Castrol colours on there, but those beautiful purple wheels, of course. We've even got a Toyota Racing dealer team as well just behind. So TRD and the old Castrol colours as well. One of my favourite colour schemes, the old Castrol scheme.
That'd make you happy, mate.
Always does.
Anyway, we've got a race going on. Let's get back to the front and see what's happening.
Well, I mean, you know, talking about the colours is important. It's a very important part of the racing, because at the moment it is pretty much just follow the leader up the front. It's Neil Pearson in the lead at the moment with the raspberry flavoured DPR car. He's sitting out there just ahead of Danny Headshide, who's had a really good run, another one of those newcomers from the Road Track Series. Brenton Hobson sits in behind him in the 88 Synergy car. Having a nice run there with Foster and Dyson rounding out our top 5. Jason Martin sitting in 6th. Then it's a bit of a drop back to Josh Micklemore in the Hendrick colours. Then Jaden Russell in the old Synergy colours as well. Very, very big throwback livery there for the team. Darren Lobb there in 9th place. And then Ryan Jones rounds out the top 10 with the ever classic M&M's livery. You'd always think he was a Kyle fan, wouldn't you, really? It's weird, isn't it? He often races those colours.
Yeah, definitely. I can tell you, when we go to our throwback round, there's only one paint scheme I'll be running, and that'll be the Home Depot paint scheme.
Mr. Stewart,
Yes.
of course.
Just looking at the times here, Carl, there's the fastest guy at the moment is actually, or the best lap of the race at the moment is Darren Lobb with a 30.086. So that's pretty good for Darren sitting down in ninth position.
Yeah, good run from him. Again, I think having that top three finishes just helped take the pressure off a little bit and just really helped him out. And we know that he's quick. He's one of those drivers that's come over from the road racing aspect of things and has been doing a really good job of working out, especially on some of the shorter tracks.
Yeah, and getting a podium early also helps boost your confidence and makes you drive that little bit harder and try and push yourself that little bit more to find that next level, which he seems to be doing quite well at the moment.
Yeah, he's doing very good. Of course, having been coaching from two very fast, well, I mean, more than two. I mean, you've got Stevie Dubb in there, you've got Daiso, you've got Pearson, you've got very, very experienced drivers in there to help with the coaching and help teach you the oval side of things. And that's been a really interesting thing to watch. Sort of the DPR boys, they sort of have their drivers come in and they've really helped them learn the oval aspect. Neil Pearson pulling out a relatively big gap. He's almost got a second lead over Heddershide at the moment. Is he working those tyres a little bit too hard? You got to wonder.
Yeah, although it's not too bad on tyres. I missed the actual weather that we've got here today. So long as the track doesn't get too hot, it should be okay.
Yeah, 44 degrees track.
There it is, just as we are.
So she's fairly warm. Of course,
Yes.
does pick up a bit of heat, the old tarmac on the track. So it's a 26 ambient with 44 degrees track temperature, and that could start to affect them. Dyson making a move on Hobson right there. Dyson just sliding his way past and getting past Hobson with relative ease, checking up mid-corner, just as Dyson has to slow down a little bit, takes a little bit more speed into the corner, slows down. Hobson a little bit more speed in the mid-corner, has to slow up a little bit, and Dyson has taken the position. As I see Noddy Tompkins pit lane. Who's that just down? I think that's Phil Otto down there, just having a bit of a moment in the Kinetic Racing entry. What's happened to Phil? Just going slow there. Just letting leaders pass. Not sure what's actually happened to Phil there because he's just circling it around. I think he's going to be coming into pit lane. Not seen any incident, just sort of lost speed. Weird one there for Phil Otto.
Remember those, Carl, this is Phil's only second race of the season, so he'd be probably finding it a lot harder to come to grip with his car. So he may have just burnt the tyres off too quickly. So yeah, we'll just wait and see. And unfortunately, he's not in the chat anywhere, so we can't grab hold of him just to see what happened.
Yeah. Shame that one, and yeah, as you say, very much one of those things of second week back coming to Darlington. That's a lot of pressure that goes into the body as well.
Dyson's made a pass on Heddershield.
He has. Dyson looks like he's been saving a little bit for this run, and now he's coming alive because Dyson is setting some really good pace at the moment. He's the fastest car on track. So was he just hanging back a little bit, saving those tyres? Now he's coming alive, and is he going to chase down his team leader of Pearson? We will find out. So interesting to see there the difference of just holding back a little bit in the early stages. Another person that's been doing that is Michael Skurlock, and he's now putting the attack on Darren Loeb, and Ryan Jones shortly will come into his sights as well. So I'll keep an eye on that little battle for P10.
Just a slight touch of the wall there for Dyson.
You're not touching the ball, you're not going fast enough here at Darlington.
That's
Bit
so
like
true.
Monaco, as Skurlock makes the move on low, going down the inside of Lob, and he lobs it into the corner and gets past there. Nice move there from Skurly. I was wondering if we would see a throwback livery from Michael Skurlock, possibly him without a moustache or something like that, but no,
Oh.
not tonight.
That would be a scary picture.
Terrifying thing for us all. We'd have to blur the car out on stream.
So, Carl, we should be seeing these guys make a two-stop race, but maybe even blow it out to a three-stop if they burn these tyres off. So we just have to wait and see. And I believe there was talk pre-race about some guys even trying for a one-stop.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what people try. I mean, a one-stop is, I think that's a little bit optimistic at the moment, as Barry Neal, I think, might be pulling it in to put that car behind the wall as his connectivity issues continue on through the night, unfortunately. Shame to see for Neal, who has not had the best luck in this one. It's never fun when an issue such as connectivity comes into play. But yeah, I think it's a stretch for a single stop, but we might see it work for some of those drivers that are very good at tyre saving. One of those people I usually say to look out for is Luke Trahare in the Nightcrawler Racing entry, sponsored by The Way Down, of course. He's usually pretty good at keeping those tyres alive. He's just sitting behind Riley Curtis at the moment, who can pull it out the bag as well. Stevie Dub as well, he's pulled out some surprises with tyre wear as well. So 3 drivers that can off and do it. Of course, there's Matty Ray, who starting a little bit lower down. He actually qualified tonight, so did something different. He's racing his very old Riley Curtis design livery from when he first joined the team. As I said, the Tackle World Chevrolet, and very cool to see that one. He got his first win in the ANZCAR series with that one as well. So it's nice to see drivers using throwback liveries for old team liveries as well. It's kind of cool to see that.
Yeah, definitely. Just looking at the live timing, Mr. Pearson's stretched that gap out the front to 1.5 seconds over his teammate, Andrew.
Yeah, he's done it.
Neil's very strong at Darlington. I think he particularly likes the track, and he is. Most races that I know that he's done at Darlington, he's always been very, very strong at Darlington.
That's one thing, good thing to know. So obviously, if you're a betting man, then Matt, you'd have your money on Neil.
Yeah, I would. If we were doing tips, I'd probably tip Neil to get the win tonight.
Just listening to the in race radio, and a few people are now realising Danica Douglas is out there and hanging some fun crap onto him.
Well deserved.
He's made some contact with the wall by the looks of it, so I hope he had his hands off the steering wheel.
Yeah, hopefully no injuries, no broken fingers for Douglas. I mean, it would be a shame. And you've got to be careful when these cars come in. It's so easy. But jokingly aside, though, actually, we did see it at the beginning of the year, Daytona, with Scotty Griffiths getting a pretty nasty wrist injury as he didn't take his hands off the wheel quick enough in a big accident and ended up getting a broken finger. So we do joke a little bit with sim racing. It's obviously there's not nearly as much danger, but there are still things that can go wrong, and they cause feedback on some of the steering wheels. If you get your finger in the wrong place, you can very easily get a nasty pinch, a nasty bit of pain, or even break a finger.
Yeah, definitely. Another person that come away with an injury that doesn't seem to be in the race tonight from Daytona was Brad Allison. He after he crossed the finish line, someone stopped on just over the start finish and drove straight into the back of him, and he got quite a nasty jar on the wrist. So, as you said, Carl, some of these these direct drive steering wheels can actually give a good jar.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, you know, we often, as we say, we jokingly say, but it is actually a real thing that can happen quite easily. And, you know, if you've not turned the feedback down, because a lot of the drivers will turn the feedback up, especially for this Gen 7 Cup car, because it is quite light on the feedback. If you jump into, say, an 87 straight afterwards, sometimes you've got the dial turned up a little bit too much, and the 87 car is not nearly as forgiving as this car, and it has a lot more force feedback, and that thing can end up ripping your arm out of its socket when it spins. So it's not without risks sometimes, but obviously there's a lot less risk of catching fire and things like that. Luckily, although I won't discount it, because I'm guaranteeing one day somebody will catch fire with their sim rig.
Yes, definitely.
I will try to do it, so you never really are. It would be the kind of thing that would happen to me, I imagine. Natari at the moment, Foster on the back of Heddersheed, and he is looking to make the pass down the inside to 53 on the 035 and makes the move. The 35 Natari of Joshua Carroll, he's away at the moment. He's off in Europe having an adventure, so we wish Mr. Carroll well and hope he has a grand time over in Europe. He's currently in London, so I hope he enjoys that holiday. But the other two Natari cars out at the front having a good run. Teammate Norman Clark further down the field in 22nd place at the moment, having a fairly solid run behind Greg Spencer at the moment. So the three cars of Natari out there having a fairly solid run at the moment.
I don't think Norman will stay down there in 22nd. I'd expect to see him up in the in at least the top 15 by the end of the race, Carl.
Yeah, he's one of those guys. He tends to work on the long run rather than the short run. And the longer the run goes with the green, the better it actually goes. I think Norman came off a third position last night in the little bit of the fun race in the 87s at Talladega.
Yeah, it was Talladega.
Yeah. So Norman just missing out on the win. Well, missing out by second place by nothing more than a Hicks facial hair. It was absolutely nothing between the top two there. But yeah, it was good to see him up there on the podium last night. But yeah, one of those drivers that will work through and get positions latterly in the race. Interested to see what Ryan Jones does tonight. Been having a good run of form recently and looking after his car a little bit more. I wonder if we'll see him a little bit more alive in the latter stages of this stint, as he just slides past Fenley there, going a lap down in the VB car. Meanwhile, Trahair is all over the back of Stevie Dubb. So Trahair on the move now. I said watch out for these guys in the latter stages of the stint. With 44 laps in, 91 laps remaining here. It has been green all the way, but those guys that can save their tyres, they are going to start coming alive around about now.
Yeah, definitely. And what, we're probably 45,
About
probably
30.
15, 20, 25 laps off our first pit stop. We should start to see him coming in about lap 70, I'd say.
Yeah. A few people, I think, might try the undercut, of course. Get some fresh boots on, see if they can get the undercut working for themselves. So we might see some people come in the next 15 laps, I'd say. Riley Curtis actually coming in right now. So Riley Curtis has decided to pull the pin now. I reckon he might be looking at a three-stop strategy then. So he's decided to come in at the moment. So we'll keep a bit of an eye on that one. And keep an eye on his times as he comes out. He's got a bit of damage on the front right, though. A man that has come alive, though, is Foster. He's absolutely chasing down the leaders now. He is in the 31 flats at the moment. Fastest car on track. It was a good couple of attempts quicker than Dyson last time round. There is some traffic involved in this, though, as well. So not all just lap speed. But I think Foster's been holding back a little bit to save those tyres. Another driver that tends to do good around Darlington, Edward Foster.
It looks like Barry may have fixed his internet connection, mate. So it looks like he's back out there.
Yeah, I
No.
hope, and I just click to him, he disappears off the face of
And,
the
and
earth.
and we're watching him, he disappears. Yeah.
It disappears into the void space.
Yep.
So yeah, I would say that is not fixed, unfortunately.
No, no. Unfortunate for Barry. I know he puts a lot of emphasis on the ANZCAR races, and unfortunately he's not going to. I don't think he'll see the tonight out. I think he'll end up parking it.
Yeah, it's a tricky thing to do. Right now, we're going to see the difference of fresh tyres and old tyres because the leader sitting right here is Neil Pearson. Right behind him is Riley Curtis, and Riley Curtis goes rocketing by on those fresh boots, and that's the difference of pace of fresh rubber. The tyres will be cold at the moment, so you just got to be careful not to lose the rear. It's very easy for these cars to snap, and when they snap, it's very hard to save them. We've seen it time and time again, and we talked about it time and time again. It's very hard to save his cars as that happens to Riley Curtis right there. Gets a big snap in the middle of the corner on those cooler tyres. He manages to save it, but that will have woken him up much better than any coffee. That will have absolutely got his attention.
Yeah, definitely. Just the cold tyres. He'll be out there trying to push a little bit harder to try and get back in front of these guys that are one lap down. So he's got to get up to Norman Clark to be eligible for the lucky dog. So I'd say he's pushing that little bit harder than what he normally would.
Yeah, he's really pushing it. It's all just behind him. Neil Pearson was thinking he'd just go down low underneath Greg Spencer, and Spencer had the same idea, dropping low to let Pearson by. Nice offer from Spencer to let Pearson by, but Pearson sort of got caught out by it because he went to go low and take past past Spencer. Which is absolutely, Spencer. We say to people as they're being laps, generally it's easier to hold your line and let the leaders pass you, because sometimes you get those miscommunications and it's very easy for an accident to happen in those circumstances. Generally, we tell the drivers to stay high, but of course, Darlington's one of those weird tracks where the high line is the fast line, of course.
Yeah, definitely. The closer to that outside wall you can get, the better the racing is. So Greg tried to do the right thing and just probably should have spoken over the race communications and just clarified where he was going. But everyone has the same problem out there, so he's lucky to avoid anything.
Yeah, he's done a good job of. It was just a little momentary thing, but yeah, getting past and absolutely fine. And but the thing is, you do race to keep on the lead lap as well. So it's the thing, as we often say, there's no blue flags in oval racing. You're racing for that position. Meanwhile, Dyson has absolutely closed the gap on the leaders. Well, on the leader, I should say. Foster is closing up on those as well. So the gap is now below 1.8 seconds to Pearson and Foster, with Dyson in the middle. Dyson is right on the back of his teammate Pearson. So this battle for the lead is going to start hotting up. Meanwhile, Riley Curtis out there. He is not quite the fastest car out there at the moment, but he is setting some really good laps at the moment. Dyson is the fastest with a 31.1. The guys at the front have just got a completely different pace to the rest of the boys at the moment. They are really setting some good laps. So interesting to see that they are able to keep that pace up even on the older tyres. And it's something we have seen with this newest generation of car, is the tyre drop-off is not as bad as the old gen, and the plateau comes a bit quicker as well. The fastest lap, of course, was a 29.7 is the fastest lap of the race so far. Low 30s is what they would be doing on fresh boots, but they're starting to sort of get to that stage now where the car's got nice and light as the fuel starts to burn off. But the tyres are still sticking in there quite well, and they're still able to set some decent pace. And the fact that they're setting pace a little bit faster than some of the guys, well, sort of close-ish to the guys that have taken tyres, is interesting. Riley Curtis now in 30.7, so Riley's finally got some pace out of those tyres, but it's taken a little bit of time to get the pace fully working in those tyres as they've got up to temperature.
Yeah, definitely. And the other good thing too, mate, Carl, 17 cars still on the lead lap, so that's pretty good around here at Darlington.
Yeah, it's really good to see. Really good to see that. Really good to see the amount of drivers on the lead lap at the moment, especially with this long green stint we've had. Really nice to see the fact so many people have managed to keep it on. The ones that have dropped off a lead lap at the moment, really those guys that have taken to the pit lane. Danica Douglas in pit lane. She's decided to get some fresh boots. Tristan Koch, Barry Neal, of course, they've come into the pit lane. But Tristan Koch is the last car that's in the race at the moment. 4 laps down at the moment for Koch, taking a bit of damage. Douglas at the moment getting some repairs, I think. She had a little bit of a moment up into the wall. And that will just be some repairs. I don't know if Douglas will be... Just having a bit of a look, because that's a long stop for Douglas, and finally getting those tyres done. I wonder if they've got a speeding penalty coming into pit lane, because yeah, that's a long old stop there, so I'm just wondering if there was a bit of a penalty involved in that one. But it is Pearson still in the lead of the race.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we've had Phil Otto retire and Nobby Tompkins retire from the race. So that's unfortunate for them. As we said, Phil's only in his second race of the season, and let's hope we get to see him a few more times, because he can turn it on too.
Yeah, Phil's one of those old school drivers. He's been around for a long time, but got some really good pace. And when he's on it, Phil Otto is up there, way up in paces. Oh, Dyson just gets a big nip into the wall that time round, and that's deformed the front of that car a fair bit. Obviously, aero not a huge issue here, but it can come into play. So it is Pearson in the lead, Dyson in second, Foster in third, Heddersheed fourth, fifth for Jason Martin, Hobson dropped down to sixth, seventh for Scullock, eighth for Jones, Mickmore ninth, 10th for Jaden Russell at the moment. Biggest mover of the night so far is Luke Trahair, 12 positions gained. Oh, I should say, actually, Ruben Phelps, 13 positions gained, down in 16th position. So we've got a few big movers out there, but Ruben is just fighting to stay on the lead lap at the moment. It is a very, very close battle for these guys, and Ruben would dearly like to stay on that lead lap as long as he can, just in case that caution comes out, but there's not much he can do here as Pearson sails past with Dyson.
Lovely move there from both the DPR cars. Yeah, it doesn't look like Ruben had anything there to fight, and got to remind the viewers that Ruben has every right to fight those guys, to try and stay on that lead lap. So next time they come around, you'll find that if Ruben goes another lap down, that he'll just move out of the road and let him go.
As Hobson loses a position to Ryan Jones a little further back. So Jones started to make a little bit of a move with Skurlock as well. Skurlock is putting in some good pace too. So interesting to see this little battle coming along. Looks like Hobson might just be struggling a little bit, and this could be that thing of just struggling, being relatively new to the shorter tracks, being slightly new to the shorter tracks and newer to the ovally side. Just might be getting caught out here with tyre wear, possibly in this latter stage right now, and this is where the really crafty veterans will be coming into their own with the older tyres. As they save a little bit of extra rubber on there and now take advantage of it.
I think we should be expecting pit stops in the next lap or two.
Hobson coming in right now. Yeah, exactly as you said when you said that, Matt. Coming in. Yeah, I think we're going to start seeing those green flag stops starting to appear. I think if you can, I think staying out a little bit longer will be beneficial at this round, just in case that late caution comes. You don't want to get caught out by a late caution, of course. We've seen that a few times. But also, I think having a little bit of fresher tyres towards the end of the stint, if you can make the stint go a little bit longer, then you're going to be looking a little bit better. So I imagine we'll probably see some of the front runners stay out a little bit longer, take a little bit of pain now, and then start to come back laterally in the race, and also just cover themselves off just in case there is that late caution as people come out back on track on cold, fresh tyres. So it's just a matter of keeping an eye on Ryan Jones in pit lane as well, so as well as Micklemore and Traher. So exactly at the time, this is pit stop central, Lob coming in too. So will we see
Dubs in.
big lock up for somebody coming into pit lane as well? I saw that one, big puff of smoke there, so hopefully they don't get a penalty for that one. Of course, very easy to speed in pit lane. These cars, their brakes are not exactly they're not exactly great, are they? Martin and Skurlock in as well. One of the tricky things with these cars is you'll generally see the drivers, when they're preparing to take the stop, is they'll actually drag the brakes a little bit the lap prior to stopping, just to try and get some temperature in them, so they can actually get the car stopped on that line, so they can get in pit lane without losing too much time, because it is really easy to lock up a brake, and that will get you a 40-second penalty, which is not beneficial to you at all. So Ryan Jones just re-emerging just between Dyson and Pearson right now on those fresh boots. When will the leaders come in? They're sticking it out as long as possible, as I suggested. They're going to try and stick it out for a nice long time here, so that they can take advantage of a caution. Foster in though. Foster has come in. So he's...
Car 11,
Ryan Jones?
Brian Jones has just got a big tank slapper and into the outside wall.
Yeah, that was...
Pearson's in.
Yeah, we've got the leaders in right now. Dyson sticking it out though. Dyson's in as well, so it must be pretty much time for fuel. Dyson got past Pearson on track. Pearson actually taking a slightly longer way in pit road, which has lost him a position to Dyson.
Yeah, Pearson got there right down on the apron. He made his decision early. I think that may have been a last-minute decision for Dyson to come into pit lane then.
Absolute last minute for Dyson on the brakes, very, very much at the last second to get that one. So we've got out there at the moment, Jaden Russell is taking the lead of the race. Norman Clark stuck it out there as well for a little bit longer. Justin Witcher stayed out, same as Paul Jackson. But they'll be coming in shortly for sure. They must be running on vapours at the moment.
So both of them took both side tyres.
Yeah, it's with the fuel at the moment. It's kind of you're not going to lose any time or gain any time coming in with the tyres now. All 4 sets, you don't really lose any time taking all 4 sets with the fuel. So it's interesting to see with this new car how that works. Norman Clark coming in now. But yeah, with the fuel, it takes a long time to fuel these cars, and you can get all 4 sets of tyres done in that time period. So everybody will choose all 4 sets, especially here at Darlington as well, because it can be a bit treacherous, especially after 70-odd laps, just taking rights only. You have to be a very, very brave or a very, very stupid person to do that.
I'll tell you what, Dyson had a great run out of pit lane. Like he's japped his teammate Pearson, and it's out over a second. Now some of this lap traffic would be playing into that, but that's a great rate of speed that he's found.
Dyson is really, really good in pit lane. He's very, very on it when it comes to pit stops. He's one of those drivers that is always on it. His transition as caution flag.
Yellow.
Caution flag is out. I guess that came at the pretty much the right time as everybody had cycled through. Let's see what this caution flag was for. Oh, it was Daniel Hederscheid. And That's a big, big incident. Head-sheet's gone up into the wall, and I think he's collected his teammate in Foster. So he's lost the car. Big snap. Collects the back end of his teammate Foster, spins it around, and then Luke Trahere just goes straight into the side of him as well. Nothing you can do in that situation. That car was spinning around and around and around, and that was very costly indeed. And a little bit of
it's
confusion because Trahere.
Just started to lose the rear end, and then it's just snapped on him.
Yeah. Big shame there. Did Martin get caught up in that as well? Martin's just coming to hit lane, so I think Martin's just coming in to top up the tank, maybe. That was a painful one, and especially catching Foster. Much damage to Foster's car. Look, terrible.
I think he might have some kind of weird netcode for it, I think.
Yeah, I think he kind of got lucky in that one. There is a fair bit of damage on the right side, but it's not nearly as bad as it could have been. Luckily, I don't think he got engine damage for that one. Unfortunately, Luke Trahere did. Luke Trahere very much got full engine damage, so that's the 43 out of this race. A big shame there. Not fun to see that happen, sadly, and that's taken out a couple of very fast cars.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just looking at Ed's car. There's slight damage on the front right nose, but the rest of it seems okay.
Well, we've got 59 laps remaining here. Pretty much everybody can make it home. Riley Curtis has come in to get some fresh tyres and fill up because he wouldn't have made it home. He was the first to stop, remember. But it's paid off for Riley, I think. It sort of helped him because he's on the lead lap now as well. So that's kind of paid it off for Riley. That's really worked out well for him. Matty Ray got lucky with that one as well. I think the biggest loser in that one was Norman Clark, who was just coming out of pit lane as the caution flag fell, and he just got caught up behind the pace car as well. If he had just got out a couple of milliseconds earlier, he would have just been in front of that pace car and not lost a lap. So unfortunate for Norman, but as is oval racing.
Looks like Ruben Phelps may get the lucky dog, so that'll put him back onto the lead lap.
Yeah, we'll wait for everything to settle down. Of course, it's always the fun thing of it settling into the areas. Now I asked this on the Thunder stream while we were here for the Xfinity cars, Mark, and I'm going to ask the same question for you. The reason why Darlington is shaped the way it is.
The reason why?
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure the reasoning behind it.
Just for those unaware, Darlington is shaped a bit like an egg, so it's a bit wider at the front and a bit tighter at the back. So it's sort of like an egg shape in the way it's set. So it's got a very narrow set of corners and then a very wide set of corners.
Yeah, it's very challenging in the shape it is, but I'm not 100. There is a reasoning behind it, but I just can't remember what it is.
Well, the owner of the fields that it used to belong to had a lovely minnow pond. The owner, one Mr. Ramsey, Sherman Ramsey, was the owner of the farm, 70 acres. And the track designer and track owner bought the area. Harold Brasington got the area. The only bit that he couldn't disturb was the minnow pond, and that is effectively where the corner is and why it's tighter. Because if they made the track wider, then it would have gone straight through the minnow pond. So that is the reason for the shape. As we go back to green flag racing here.
Dyson's got a great jump again. He's becoming the master of these restarts, Carl.
He is very, very good, Dyson. It's frustratingly good, you can say sometimes, especially on a road course. But it's great to see him at work because he's just able to keep control of that car in ways that some of us can't. And, you know, he's just very, very good at keeping that car in a line and keeping the tyres alive as well. Something that he can do that others tend to struggle with is keeping the tyres alive at the latter stages of this race. But he has got a lot of pressure on him tonight because he has Pearson and Foster right behind him. Hobson sitting in behind them. Hobson will have learned a lot from that first stint. We've seen that prior for Hobson. He learns from those early stints and then puts it good latterly in the race. So he will probably not push as hard this time round, try and save a little bit of tyre, and he could come into effect later on. Watch out for Josh Mickelmore, Michael Skurlock sitting in behind Hobson. Then you have Jay Russell sitting in there, one of the new ones as well, but Jason Martin fallen back a little bit from the front row at the start of the race.
Oh,
but
Sherlock in the background.
Oh, he just saves that car.
That was a very big tank flat.
Yeah, that was a butt clincher for sure. That would have been one of those moments where you absolutely would have taken a deep, deep breath. I wonder if you got a little bit of help from that one, from Russell behind. No, just it got loose just before Russell. So from the front, it looks like Russell just gave him a little bit of help in that one. But no, when looking at it again, he's just got loose in the mid corner. Russell's just avoided him perfectly, and Scully's done a great job of saving that car. The only trouble now is those rear tyres will be a bit warmer. So once you have a moment like that, of course, the rear tyres get very, very hot, and it takes a few laps for them to cool down. So that would have been a moment where if you were sitting on a lump of coal, you would probably have turned it into a diamond if you were following Scully then.
And we also seen there that one of those shots are Riley Curtis on the inside wall.
Yeah, big moment for Riley, of course. He's on the freshest, some of the freshest tyres out there now as well, Riley. But he's had a big moment, lost it, completely looped it out of turn 4, and he's just lost the rear, I think, and just completely looped it. He's done a good job of saving it, and we were lucky not to get a caution. Not a huge amount of damage though, luckily. So not a huge amount of damage to Riley's car, but that will not help it. He's still on the lead lap though, importantly for him. So, yes, Dyson in the lead, Pearson in second, and there is a good fight between Pearson and Foster. Foster right on the tail of Pearson at the moment, and those two will be at it shortly, I reckon. And Mickelmore has worked his way up past Hobson, so Mickelmore now is on the chase in the Hendrick Motorsport colours tonight instead of the Mitch colours. It's a bit of a Mitch sandwich for the Synergy Racing boys at the moment, as Hobson and Russell are between Martin. But these two teams work together, they talk to each other, so they will be racing each other as well, and we know the Mitch boys love to race each other, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Skurlock has managed to recover pretty well considering he had that massive tank slapper down the front straight as, you see there Matty Ray having a moment as well. He managed to save it as well. But Michael Skurlock up in 8th still, so he did a good job of saving that car. Matty Ray will drop down a couple of positions. He's dropped down to 11th after that big moment, but he managed to save the car, and I think it's still looking pretty clean. There's not a dent on it at the moment, as is tradition for Matty Ray.
Yeah, definitely. It'd be interesting to see what type of non-love lost between Ed and Pearson when they get right up close. I think there may be some good hard rubbing and racing there between these two guys.
Yeah, they've got a bit of history now, racing each other pretty hard, and we saw last time out it was a little bit of help with netcode, unfortunately, that caused a real big accident between the two of them. But they are going to be racing hard. They're going to want to carry on. Who's just made a move there? Who's just got Jaden Russell on an absolute fly as well. J Russ just getting past Hobson and Mickelmore. Yeah, getting past Mickelmore and Hobson. So Jaden Russell is on an absolute charge at the moment. In the blue and yellow, it's almost Dale Wrangler-esque, isn't it? Colours in that respect.
Yeah, definitely. Just looking at the times, most of these guys are still in the mid or low to mid 30s. So there's definitely some pace still out there in this race.
Yeah, they're on pretty fresh tyres. I mean, most of them stopped only 18 laps ago. Jaden Russell did come in, and I think he threw a fresh set of boots on that car, so he might be on some of the freshest tyres out there. So he's making use of those at the moment. I'm just going back to have a little bit of a look, see if he did take tyres in at that stop when he came in. I've got a feeling he did. So he could be on some very fresh boots at the moment. He lost a lot of time in pit lane because he missed his box, but he seems to have some good pace out there at the moment. And yeah, so he didn't take any tyres, but he just got some repairs done. So that's given him a bit of a lease of life, I think, with those repairs done. He's able to just get a bit more speed in that car. But still a long way to go. 43 laps to go around Darlington. This track is way too tough to be tamed. 24/7 Sim Services will attest to that one. It is not an easy place to race, and the lady in black is often there to pay you back if you lose concentration. As Brenton Hobson just does that, he just gets up into the long, earns himself another stripe here at Darlington. He is going to have enough stripes tonight here. Enough stripes tonight to become a sergeant major, I think. He's got a fair few of them.
Yeah, definitely is. There's a few cars out there with the Darlington stripe on it. I personally don't like this track. I just can't get my head around it. This place and Martinsville are my two voodoo tracks. I just can't get my head around them.
Not a fan of paper clips, I take it.
No.
Of course, a little bit more banking here at Darlington, but it is that edge-shape. So it's a funny old track. I don't like tracks where you have to run the high line personally, so I tend to struggle on any track where the high line is needed. Jason Martin moving his way up now as well. Martin making a big push at the moment. He's just got past his teammate Josh Micklemore, and he's putting all kinds of pressure on Hobson in front of him. So Martin, I think, is starting to press the go pedal. He's decided it's time to start pushing those tyres a little bit. We saw this last time round of people just saving a little bit of tyres towards the end of the stint, and then putting their foot down and getting the latter stages of the stint with their tyres and the pressure rubber for the end of the stint.
So, Carl, while we're in this mid-section of the race, just some track facts for our viewers. Turns 1 and 2, as you said, which is the big wide open where they are at the moment, that's got 25 degrees of banking on it. Now, when they go down into 3 and 4, it drops a little, and the banking's down to 23 degrees. The front straight's got 3 degrees of banking on it, and the back straight's got 2 degrees of banking on it. The race lap record here is 26.705 seconds at 184 mile an hour. So that's fairly quick, and that was set by Eric Amarola on April the 11th in 2014.
Yeah, that is a very fast lap around here. It's a pretty crazy lap speed to set around here. Obviously, it is a fast track. That's what people tend to forget about this place. It's a pretty high speed track because of that banking. It allows you to carry a bit more speed through here, and it is one of those tracks that can catch you off guard by just how fast it is.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, most people would know what Darlington was the major attraction back in 1990 used for. Do we remember what that was, Carl?
In 1990, not
Mm-hmm.
for me, no.
It was used in the filming of Days of Thunder.
Oh yeah, of course.
So, starring one Mr. Tom Cruise.
Yes.
I don't think he's gone on to do much in his life.
No, he's not got on to do much else. I do wonder, with the coming out of Top Gun 2, will we see Days of Thunder 2 come out?
We can only hope.
That would be fantastic to witness. I mean, come on, Tom, fully think about it. I mean, he's not that old. I mean, in NASCAR racing ages, he's a youngster still. So, um,
I might have to have a chat to my mate about getting behind that.
yeah. As Dyson just gets a bit of a clip to the wall. Again, just a little bit more of a clip, and you don't want to keep doing that. It just keeps damaging the car, and it just hurts and hurts and hurts.
Especially if if a guard gets down on one of those tyres, mate. We may see Dyson cut a tyre open for the first time.
Yeah, that is an easy thing to do. Oldest driver to ever compete in a NASCAR sanctioned event.
His name starts with D, doesn't it? I was trying to remember. He drove a Buick by memory.
No,
No?
it starts with an H.
H.
Yes, so it was a K&N Pro Series race. So NASCAR sanctioned. So the second oldest is 84.
Yep. I'm thinking of the Cup car itself. So you've got me there, Carl.
So it is Herschel McGriff, 90 years young.
Jeez, what year was that done?
That was done relatively recently, I think. When was that? 2018, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a relatively recent thing. So yeah, it's pretty crazy stuff. I mean, like they just keep going in stock cars. There's no stopping them. But yeah, to do it at 90 years old is a rather special feat, you've got to say.
Yeah, definitely. I'd be happy if I could still attend a racetrack at 90.
I'd be happy if I could get in a car at 36. Jesus, let alone 90. So yeah, that's a fair effort. And I do apologise if you can only hear rain in the background of my microphone at the moment.
It's actually a really interesting story about the initial and the inaugural 7500 too, if you want to look into that. Basically along the lines of having tire issues, and
it's a great story, this one, Matt.
yeah, chucking. I think the race winner chucked on a set of old truck tires and qualified last, and because I think it was a 6-hour race, eventually everybody had to come in and pit repeatedly for tires, while this guy just trucked on with his old crappy truck tires. And
it was something like 6 seconds a lap slower or something like that, I think, from memory.
Yeah, and the tyre situation got so bad that teams had to buy tyres off spectators, off their cars. So, yeah, it was pretty bad.
The guy that won it was just an absolute nobody as well, wasn't he? Sort of, they'd got the Indy 500 winner in to race in that race. That was one of the big getters for that. And that was like one of the big things for it. But the guy that won it was just a complete nobody and just absolutely Johnny Mantz.
Yep, that's it. Johnny Mantz.
Yeah. I think that the car was actually owned by somebody in France, I think. It wasn't even an American owner. But yeah, just using those truck tires paid off. So I wonder if anybody's out there slapped a set of truck tires on there tonight to see if they can make that work. But in the good old days of NASCAR, I mean, just anything went, basically.
Just whatever could be done.
Run the car on moonshine, of course.
It was
Always
a calculated gamble that was correct.
brilliant.
He figured out that the tyres weren't going to last on everybody else, and he was 100% spot on.
You see, stuff like that is what I love in motorsport. Is just crazy stories of just absolutely gambling it and it paying off. We've seen it a few times in many forms, but it's great when these things happen because it is just you can get some great funny results and stuff like that. Meanwhile, up the front, Dyson has got a nice lead over Pearson of 0.4 of a second at the moment. Foster's 2.5 seconds down. He's got Jaden Russell in his mirrors now. So he'll see Russell closing in a little bit on him. Jay Russell's been setting some fairly good lap times recently. So Russell is very much chasing down Foster at the moment.
I could tell you some real life racing stories, mate. Rebuilding a race motor with different sized pistons and from one track to another, and yeah, coming out and absolutely blitzing the field the following night.
Oh yeah, stuff like that is always hilarious. I mean, the old days of getting a car out there held together with nothing but duct tape. That's been done a few times. I saw a few cars come back from America with some rather questionable repairs on them to get them home in oval racing. And you look at it, and if you pushed on it in one direction, that thing would snap instantly.
There's nothing like some hockey straps and 100-mile-an-hour tape, mate, to hold a race car together.
Exactly. I mean, 100 mile per hour tape. It's there for a reason. It's like with Tazio Nuvolari's unit at Le Mans, of course, famously won because they had some chewing gum handy to stick over a hole in the fuel tank, and that's the only way he won the race. Got it home because of some chewing gum over a fuel tank that was leaking. You get some rather interesting little things like that. Yeah, Foster just popping up in the chat as well, just talking about LW Wright and the Whittington brothers and stuff like that. Some of the interesting stories that go on with them, and yeah, there's some really good old stories in NASCAR. There are so many. I mean, it's one of those things that you deep dive into it, and it is just so funny. Of course, NASCAR being founded by moonshiners in the beginning, it means that you had some real characters back in the day.
Yeah, definitely some real old characters.
It's as you talked about. We talked about last season a little bit. Jocko Flocco and the monkey, of course, in the car, costing him the race. Having a live monkey in the car. The little things like that you just would do in racing. That's just fine. Oh, very close moment up at the front for Dyson as he gets past. Just gets past. Who was that? That was Scotty Griffiths there. Real close moment. He almost caught the back of Scotty Griffiths there. Almost a race-ending moment there for Dyson. As we battle on as this race continues to go under green. Really good run so far. Just 3 lead changes tonight. It has been dominated by Dyson Pearson so far up the front. They have been doing a good job up at the front for DPR. Foster holding on to third at the moment, but he is coming under attack from Jaden Russell. We've got 18 laps remaining. As again Dyson gets very lucky as Ryan Jones just clips the outside wall. He just manages to squeeze past there. He's getting to that stage now where these cars are getting very tight. There's a bit more rubber on the track, but the car's getting light from lack of fuel, and this is where a late caution could creep out.
I was just going to say, Carl, I don't even think we've had in real life a Darlington go green the green, green the checker, or had less than 3 cautions in it. So the boys have done really well here tonight.
Yeah, really good racing out there tonight. Great to see that everybody's been behaving obviously really well. But there's been some really good clean racing as well, which is what we love to see. It's what we aim to do in ANZCAR as well, being sort of, same for you guys over with the Weekend Warriors. We want the top of the top. We want pure racing, and we want everybody to race hard, but we want them to race clean as well. And it's not easy to do at places like Darlington. It is easy to make mistakes as you are travelling at speeds well over 270 kilometers per hour on a track that is very, very tight in a car that's very hard to handle. Um, we've seen a couple of sort of moments for people, but nothing really major, I'd say, other than the Luke Traher and Daniel Hedersheed moment. But there has been some really good racing out there. People have been really respectful tonight too, as well, which has been great. Some good door rubbing, but they've also been respectful about it, which is great to see.
Yeah, definitely, mate. I think that's coming to both the leagues now. Is that there's a lot more guys that know how to race a lot harder and a lot closer, and pay respect to each other. Even some of the lap guys know that, hey, I can't keep up with these guys at the front. I'm still learning, and they move out and they give them the room to make that pass now. Where probably 18 months to 2 years ago, it was like, nah, this is my lane. I'm going to stick to it, and you go around me.
Yeah, it's definitely seen a big improvement there. Matty Ray's been quiet tonight at the moment. He's just been plodding along, up 12 positions inside the top 10 at the moment. There in his old throwback livery. I would have liked to have christened it with another victory with that livery, of course, I'm sure, but not looking like that's going to be the case tonight. But top 10 will be pretty happy with that. Looking through the field as well, it's a lot of the old names up there. But we have got some of the newer drivers of Dyson, Russell, Hobson up there inside the top 10. But it shows, we've got Raymond, Williams, Micklemore, Skurlock, Martin, Foster, Pearson, some of those drivers that have been around for donkey's years in the oval side. It shows with Darlington that it is a place where a little bit of experience really can pay off.
Yeah, definitely. I'll tell you one person that'd be happy with his performance tonight again is Matty Raymond.
Yeah, again, one of those drivers that just gets his job done. It's not all flash. Not you tend to forget about him during a race and then notice him towards the end of the race creeping up there and doing a really good job. And again, done that. Jaden Russell's done a fantastic job as well tonight. 11 positions gained. Really strong performance from J Russ. So that's good to see. And he's been one of those drivers that's been improving and just getting that little bit more confident, but also just getting that little bit more oval orientated as well. And again, that's one of those things that takes time for some of these road races. They sort of, it can take them a little bit of time to sort of learn. They don't have to defend everything constantly, and things will come back to them latterly in a race. And he's definitely been improving in that respect. So nice to see from Jaden Russell, and he's been knocking on the door for a good Cup win a few times. So he's really doing well. Good to see Jason Martin up there in the top 5 as well. Jason has definitely been struggling in this new generation of car. He's a stalwart of the series, but he has definitely struggled in the car, and it looks like he's finally having it get to him now. It looks like it's all clicked to him, and he's definitely got the speed back, but he's also getting that consistency back as well. So good to see from him.
Yeah, definitely. The racing now, again across both leagues, it used to be, oh yeah, he'll do it. Now, anyone that starts in that top 10 in at the start of the race, you can't really say, yeah, he'll definitely win this race, because any one of those top 10 guys can do it. And there's some guys, even as you said, back in the mid pack, that just trot along, like Norman Clark and the like, that just trot along and are there at the end of the race. So it's good now to see that a winner can come from anywhere in these fields.
Yeah, competition has really got a lot closer, and it's great to see that. It's definitely been a real thing that narrows it up, and it's really really fun to see that the competition has closed up so much. Anybody can win. I mean, Dyson and Hobson have been on an absolute streak recently. Both of them getting a lot of wins. So it sort of can be a little bit misconceiving sometimes with their sort of really strong runs. As who was that just catching the wall? Was it Jaeger? Yes, it was Raymond Jaeger. Of course, just catching the wall there. Unfortunately for him, but they've been on an absolute streak recently. But anybody can win out of that top 10, and even outside the top 10 there is a strong chance that they can creep up there as well. And it's that consistency, it's that clean racing, it's just knowing where to be and where to push and where not to push. There's been some really good moments, but it's been a good race so far. 130 of 135, 5 laps remaining here at Darlington. Just the single caution so far tonight. Touch wood, fingers crossed, try not to curse anybody. As Dyson just gets a bit clap in the wall. As you say, it's been some really good clean racing out there, and we've seen some really good passes for position. Still some battles going on throughout the field, but most people have split up a fair bit. Probably one of the closest battles at the moment is between Hobson and Skurlock, I'd say. Those two are putting pressure on each other for the final 5 laps. Skurlock lifting it up inside the top 6 at the moment. Looks like Hobson is just struggling a little bit with the tyres. Foster is trying his best to catch up to Pearson, but with so few laps, I don't think there's much he can do at the moment. So he's sort of in that position where not really much he can do at this stage. Unless that dreaded green-white checker comes out, of course, which we hope not to see. It'd be lovely to see just the single yellow out tonight for the race. But it's been a solid run again from Dyson. Again, just really proving that he has mastered all forms of ovals. He's been very good on the short tracks, the super speedways, the cookie cutters, and of course the road circuits. But he's just been improving, and it's been great to watch throughout the year as well. Just that improvement that he's gone on from, just stepping forwards and coming up leaps and bounds.
Yeah, definitely, mate. I'm just sorry, I'm just having some issues here and not being able to open things. I was just going to see how many different winners we've had here this season.
Winners, we have had 5 different winners, I think, off the top of my head. Yeah, 5 off the top of my head I can think of. But we've had quite a few top 3 as well, quite a few different top 3s, as the white flag will be coming out on round. So Dyson will see that white flag very shortly as he collects the wall again, gets another Darlington stripe there. Getting very tight on the exit of the corner, but crosses the line. The white flag is out, and only a short amount of distance to go. Just a mile left here, and it looks like it is very much his race to lose from this point on. Pearson sitting comfortably in second, Foster in third at the moment. James Russell doing a really good job to come up into 4th position. But it is Andrew Dyson who's going to be coming across the line tonight and taking the victory for the 24/7 Sim Services ANZCAR Cup here for the throwback round at Darlington. Great job from Andrew Dyson and DPR, getting a 1-2 finish with himself and Neil Pearson in second. Foster comes home in third for Natari. 4th for Jaden Russell in Synergy. Jason Martin is the first of the Mitch cars home in 5th position. Brenton Hobson, the championship leader, comes home in 6th tonight. Michael Skurlock in 7th, Micklemore in 8th, Stevie Dubb in 9th, and Maddie Ray comes home in 10th position. Biggest gainer of the night was Mr. Gary Wellman in 13th position for Sim Boys, having a great run out there. 17 positions gained here at Darlington. Not an easy feat to do indeed. Great job there from Sim Boys. Gary Wellman getting all of those 17 positions gained. as Dyson celebrates by absolutely lighting up those rears. Probably not much left on those things right now. Does a few victory spins, but just the one yellow here at Darlington, Mark. That is a huge surprise.
Yeah, it is. Like you'd think there'd be one or two or three, but to get through 135 laps with only one caution, that's well done, and everyone in the race should be congratulated on that.
Yeah, big pat on the back for all of those drivers out there tonight getting home with just the one caution. And again, it was a caution from a single car spin. Really, it wasn't a sort of one of those sort of situations where it was a wreck. It was just a car losing it, and unfortunately, Luke Traher getting caught up in that one. But great job there from Dice, though. He is going to be super happy with that one. Ryan Jones finished in 11th. Lob in 12th position, 13th for Wellman, 14th for Phelps, Spencer 15th, 16th for Jaeger, Witcher 17th, 18th for Clark, Jackson 19th, 20th for Curtis. We'll run through those results fully very shortly. But what we'll do is we'll grab up our third place finisher, Mr. Edward Foster for Atari Autosport, for his finish tonight here at a very clean, very well raced Darlington. Ed Foster, welcome back to the booth. Congratulations on a P3 finish tonight.
Yeah, thanks very much, guys.
Very clean race here at Darlington.
Yeah, very surprised about that, actually. The track was really hot and real slick. Yeah, but you kind of expect that there's going to be a lot of cautions in that case, but sometimes having a car like that really demands your full attention actually has the effect of cleaning up the racing, because everyone focuses so much. They focus so much more holding onto the car. They're careful around one another. They don't make these bold moves. And we saw that a couple of years ago in Richmond, where we had a really, really slick track and a loose car, and actually ran caution free there. So yeah, it has been known to happen before, I guess.
Yeah, not a complete unknown thing to happen, but at Darlington, it's a rarity, you've got to say, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It's the hardest oval, without question. It's the hardest oval track. Everyone sort of underestimates it a little bit, except the guys who know, and the guys in the know to fear it and respect it and give themselves a little bit of margin. So yeah, if you do that, you can generally come out with a good finish. It's fairly unusual that I have a good finish in a throwback race. I think the last couple that we've run have been absolute disasters after starting really promisingly. So even sort of towards the end, and when everything was looking good, I'm thinking to myself, well, it's gone wrong from here before. So yeah, glad we didn't get another caution or anything like that to bunch us all up, and we're able to bring it home. So yeah, that was cool.
Speaking of the caution, you got very lucky when your teammate caught the wall and just caught the side of you. Obviously, not too much damage to your car.
Yeah, I mean, I got a 4X for it, but I didn't see that I had any damage. And when I came down pit road, it didn't say that I had any damage. So I'm not sure what it was showing for you guys, but certainly for me, it felt okay. Yeah, it was just a shame what happened to Daniel. He's by his own admission, he's struggling to get on top of the sort of snap loose that this car is sort of capable of, and keeps getting caught out by it, which is unfortunate for him, and I guess lucky for me, because I was right behind him when it did happen. Managed to get away with it, but yeah, it's been a bit of a rough trot for him for sure.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, from our position, we saw him basically go straight through you effectively. So yeah, it was nice to see that it wasn't too much damage and you could continue on there. Some good racing though throughout that race, and obviously very pretty livery on there tonight. Very nice to see that throwback livery on there.
Yeah, I actually didn't want to get caught out again like I was last year, so I actually did these throwbacks at the start of the year when I did the all the rest of the paints and everything for the team. So I think it was only about a month later that I put those together. It wasn't even Daytona 500 time yet. So yeah, they've kind of been sitting on them, waiting to use them. I'm really happy with how they turned out. I thought Norman's looked awesome with the Valvoline and everything. So that was probably my favourite one. But yeah, this one's cool. Unfortunately, not having Joshy here, he wasn't able to run his, but he'll be able to keep that for another day.
Yeah, that's it. The Darlington sponsored car. Great to see
Yeah.
that. No, I absolutely loved it. Congratulations on tonight, Mark. Do you have anything to ask Ed?
Yeah, Ed, we were talking earlier. The competition over the league and our league and everything, it just seems to have lifted. Have you found that there's a few more guys out here now that are paying a little bit more respect and paying more respect to the track themselves?
I'm not sure necessarily about that. I mean, we had a very competitive season last year. I think we had about 13 different winners across the season. So certainly really competitive last year. This year, it seems as though the lead is sort of being shared amongst fewer people, perhaps. So from that perspective, it might not be as competitive, but at the same time, we've had a really big injection of quality. Like, Hobbo's come over. Jay Russ has got himself sorted out. He's running really good. I was feeling the pressure from him at the end, I can tell you. Pearson's running a full season. Dyson's got himself sorted out now. He had the rookie year last year to learn, and now this year he's obviously firing really well. And of course, we know that the Mitch guys are going to come at some point. They're going to get it, and they're going to start challenging right up the front. Again, as we've been used to seeing them over the last few years. So there's that group, and then of course there's probably Skirley, who we haven't seen the best of yet as well. Luke's just getting better and better, especially on those long runs all the time. Davo, he's always sort of a force to be reckoned with there or thereabouts. He's either kind of feast or famine with him. He's either having a great night or a terrible one. But yeah, I mean, there's been a good injection of talent into the series, and like it sounds like a cliche to say, but it does get harder every year. It legitimately gets harder every year. Every year, you get another group of guys coming along to challenge you who know what they're doing, and of course, you call these guys rookies, but they might be ANZCAR rookies. But there are many, many places across iRacing that you can run stock cars without being an ANZCAR. So these guys can be very, very accomplished elsewhere before they come to us. So it's no surprise to see him coming in and doing well straight off the bat.
Yeah, definitely. One last thing. Do you have an answer for those DPR cars of Dyson and Pearson? Because they
Not
just seem
tonight.
they just seem to be on fire. Everything they turn out the race, they seem to be right up there at the pointy end.
Yeah, well, I mean, they probably wanted to snap Hobbo's winning streak. He's won the last three, of course. So they probably wanted to see if they could get one over on him. And yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously, I didn't have an answer tonight. If the race had run a couple more laps, I might have been able to have a dig at Pearson. It looked as though he had a bit of damage or something like that. And like, if you look at the way that the first run shook out, we sort of started catching him towards the end of that one as well. So it was kind of like we had very even short run pace. He had probably better medium run pace. Then on the long run pace, I was probably a little bit better. So if this race had been 137 laps long instead of 135, maybe we would have been able to have a dig at him because we were certainly taking a lot of time out of him there at the end. I don't know if he was fuel saving or what, but yeah, we took a lot of time out of him at the end. So yeah, but it's third. It doesn't matter if it's by an inch or a mile, it's third. So that's where we are.
That's still some good points for the championship, mate. So well done.
Yeah. I mean, we're not even halfway through the year yet, so it's just a case of sitting solidly in the chase. I'm quite happy to turn the aggression up in some of these battles now, so I'm quite comfortable in the chase. I'm not really concerned about it. So yeah, look out.
Carl.
Congratulations, Ed. As ever, the usual thing of shout out and love to sponsors and people in general.
Yeah, just AJD and Fully Floored. Great to have those guys on board. And yeah, that's really it as far as that. There's the team guys and everybody who showed up tonight. That's like the racing was really good. So great for those guys, great for everyone that showed up tonight to have a nice clean race. And yeah, shouts out to them. And yeah, I guess we'll see them all again next week.
Well, indeed. Thank you so much, Ed. We'll catch you again soon.
No problems at all. Catch you later.
So next up, we will grab up the second and first place men. Grab both of them up into the booth. But we'll start off with the second place finisher, the number 9 of Neil Pearson for DPR. Congratulations on a great race out front. DPR 1-2 tonight, but Neil, you came off second best.
Did, and I'm not happy about it.
I imagine most of that was from the pit stop. I've got to ask about the pit stop, and that's why I wanted both of you up here, because you got caught napping by your teammate.
The car just didn't go. once he got off the jack. So I was like trying to release the clutch, and it was just not going. And then I just watched Daiso drive around me.
On pit entry as well, you sort of came in nice and early and just nice and steady, and Dyson very much almost like a last minute thing. Dyso, was that a last minute decision to come into pit lane?
No, I just wanted to try something different, and that way, we're not kind of following each other, and kind of mitigates risk, I guess.
It was interesting to see the approaches there, but yeah, definitely a race in and out of pit lane there, and look, you're gonna have to pay your pit crew a bit better, Neil.
I reckon they're all fired, and I'll have new ones for next week.
That's it. That's it. They're
Actually,
all
I'm
on
going to
notice.
steal Daiso's pit crew, actually. So
Yeah, do that. I think that's your best option. Give him your pit crew. Take your pit crew out for drinks the night before, and then give him your pit crew, and take his pit crew the next day. And I think that might work. Look, a really strong night from you both. Obviously, starting from pole for yourself, Neil. Really strong out there. We know you're good here at Darlington. A really strong performance for yourself. You pretty much had a little bit of a challenge from Foster in the sort of earlyish mid stages, of course. But other than that, it was really just a battle between yourself and Dyson.
Uh, yeah, I wouldn't actually call it a battle between me and Daiso. Like, after we found out the tire wear, he had me down pat. I got to figure out how he manages to save that right front like he does. But yeah, Ed did seem to leave a gap in the middle of the stint, and then towards the end, he was catching me pretty hard. And then on that last stint, about 10 laps to go, I slammed the wall really hard, and just the car had nothing after that. So I was just counting down the laps to get home and hoping that Ed wouldn't catch me.
No, it was a good run there. I mean, obviously, it is tricky, and as you said, Dyson's tire wear as well. He's very good at keeping those tires alive. Sometimes it's frustrating, isn't it?
It's very frustrating.
You're gonna have to steal his steal his tires next time around.
I think I have to go over there and like smash his hands or something, and just make it so he can't race.
That's the option. You're gonna have to do the old ice skating approach and get the old tire iron out the back and just give him a quick whip behind the knee or something like that. A really good race from you both. Obviously, you must be pretty happy with the performance tonight of the team. Again, 1-2 for you guys. 3 of the cars in the top 10 as well tonight. Another strong performance from DPR.
Yeah, it was good. It's good to see Steve and Darren Lobb, I think, finished 12th.
Yeah.
He first time he's ever seen this track, so he was like, "What is this?" So it's
Most people say, "Holy crap, what is going on here?" when they come here
yeah,
for the first time.
yeah, exactly. He reckons that he actually did like the last 100 laps or something with 16 incident points. Just trying to not hit the wall again and get that disqualification. So he did well to actually bring it home. And yeah, Steve did good at ninth, and yeah, obviously Daiso and myself with first and second. It's really good to bounce back. With myself, I have a bit of a bad run the last few weeks, so I'm happy to bounce back like that.
Yeah, it's a good result for yourself. I mean, as we say, we always talk about the championship, even though it's early doors and there's not really much that you can get from it. But you're currently sitting in third, and that's gonna help out in the old keeping that position relatively strong as we go on. But it has been a really good start of the season for both of you, obviously. You've had a couple of it's been a couple of rough weeks for you, but it's nice to see you bounce back and get back up here in the booth again.
Yeah, I'm very happy to be back, and I think I would have had a meltdown if I didn't do well here because this is just my favorite track of this whole place. So I'm pretty happy to be up the top.
Next time on the restart, just make sure to give Dyson a little bit of a nudge. Um,
Yeah, I think I
just
might have to do a bit of a hook turn.
yeah, that's it. No, look, congratulations on the second place. A really strong drive tonight. I'll go through team sponsors with Daiso, of course, because you're going to have the same. But any personal shout outs you'd like tonight, Pearson?
Just the team. You guys for a great broadcast, and yeah, just teammates. Really keeping the interest and the fun of this series going.
All right, thank you so much, Neil Pearson. Congratulations on a strong P2, and well done for all the work you do for the team. But we were talking a little bit about how you guys have been really helping out the guys on the ovals. So the road races like Darren and Andrew really build up and improve on these ovals, and you must be kicking yourself a bit for helping Daiso a little bit too much.
Yeah, I was a bit disappointed when he started racing ovals last year, to be honest. And he's a really talented driver. So I think I need to do something to get rid of him.
You're too good. No, cheers, Neil. Have a good one, and I'm sure we'll get to speak to you again soon.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Next up, we will head to the winner. It has been a very good streak for this man, Mr. Andrew Dyson. Congratulations on another victory, and a victory here at Darlington as well. One of the, if not the hardest tracks on the calendar, and you pulled it out the bag tonight.
Yeah, man. It's it's good to get a win. It's good to be here, but I thought it was good to be here, but it sounds like bash up Dyson night, so I don't know if I want to be here anymore. But no,
look,
it's all it's
we're
all
gonna do
good.
something to knock the confidence, because we don't want you getting too confident, too happy.
No,
I mean,
none of that business. I'm not an advocate for pumping up my own tires. I can guarantee you. And yeah,
You had to get a new size hat because his head wouldn't fit in his old one.
that's it.
Well,
Maybe
well,
that's the plan. Just build up Dyson's confidence so much he won't be able to fit in the rig anymore.
I was going to say that's fair enough. With how well he's been running the last couple of weeks, some big wins over the 2 leagues, and then to come out here and really drive away with it again tonight.
yeah, it's great, man. I mean, consistent finishes is really what everyone's after. Being such a long season, it's all about just staying in the 10 until the last bit. So, same for everybody. It doesn't matter if you're first, 10th, 12th, and you got different guys finish in front of you every week. Like, there's a chance you can get into the top 10, and that's how you have a go at the championship at the end of the year. So, just consistent finishes is what I'm all about, man. But it's good to get a W every now and then.
Yeah, I mean, consistent finishes, but especially when they're consistently in the top two, that's a really nice thing to have happen. It's been again a really consistent year, and we were talking a little bit through the broadcast as well. Sort of second, sort of full year in ovals, of course. Still a bit to learn, of course, but you've got that confidence and experience underneath your belt now. And how much of a difference do you find that's made?
Oh, the biggest difference is just navigating traffic and stuff like that, I think. I mean, as far as like the driving of the cars go, they're totally different. So everyone's kind of learning them all from scratch again. But navigating traffic, understanding everybody, and kind of knowing what each driver is like when you get around them, not just when you're passing them, like say lap guys or whatever, because they've got damage and stuff like that. But when you're racing them side by side and door to door, you get a read on who you're racing and how to race them and stuff like that, and makes it far more enjoyable because you're not really second guessing stuff, and they're not second guessing me as well. So it's good.
No, it's great to see, and look, another great performance tonight, of course. But it's been strong racing, of course. What a difference did it make? Obviously, being just a single caution out there tonight.
Yeah, that was surprising. Chatting to Neil earlier, and he was saying, "Yeah, this is going to be a caution fest." When he did his first couple of laps, and I'm glad it wasn't, because that was really fun. I mean, I'm all about those long green flag runs. I'm sure a lot of the guys are. It's most enjoyable. So yeah, I wrapped. It was only one yellow tonight. That's big ups to all the drivers tonight. That's on everybody. So well done.
I imagine you were breathing a little bit of a sigh of release when that caution did come out, because it sort of came out just at the right time. It didn't really affect anybody's race. I think the only person that got caught out by it was Norman Clark, unfortunately. But pretty much everybody had cycled through pit lane at that stage. Was there any part of you that was tempted to just pop in and maybe top up the tank a little bit, or possibly chuck on a fresh set of boots? Or were you just going to just keep track position because that was key tonight?
Yeah, pretty much track position around here. Like, it's super difficult to pass people. So I don't think anyone was even contemplating pitting after we all just did. So I would be very surprised if anybody did, and glad I didn't, that's for sure.
No, it definitely paid off for you. And again, just quickly on that pit stop, you just had such a good transition time, and that pit stop was just picture perfect.
I wouldn't say it's picture perfect. There's always things you can look at and improve on. Everyone's critiquing themselves as much as they can, as we all are. And I can think of some things I could have done better. Like, I didn't know where Neil was on the inside, so I kind of balked myself a bit. But
I just guesstimated that. So he's only a teammate. It's not like he's anyone.
Luckily, I could just shout out the window and ask him, "Hey, mate, where are you?" sort of thing. That was helpful.
At least on the inside, he's just a buffer, so he'll just slow you down towards the wall, so it's fine, you know.
Yeah, well, he does want to try and slow me down, doesn't he? So I mean, I don't know why he was beating me half the bloody race.
No, look, a great result from all of you tonight. And as you said, great result from everybody, just having that single caution tonight. At Darlington, that's never an easy thing to have happen. But congratulations on tonight's win. And the usual thing of shout out and love to sponsors.
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks to you guys for putting it all together. Put the work in to make this series happen, so we really appreciate it. Thanks to 24/7 Sim Services for getting behind the league as well. Really appreciate that. Thanks to those guys. Thanks to all the boys in DPR, being absolute lads. And thanks to Simix.com, South Hollis and Hoist, Max Mechanical, Phoenix Smokers, and MP Designs. Sorry we didn't have a retro paint job or a throwback paint job tonight. I think our resident painter is a little bit busy, but our paint job's kind of old school already, so hopefully that suffices.
Yeah, like I mean, you know, we'll forgive you on that one. We'll let that one slip. It's just a 150-point penalty for both of you
Oh.
for not having a retro paint job, so that's fine. Just quickly as well, obviously Kansas next time out, very different track. How are you looking forward to that one?
I'm not, and I really don't like that track, and I'm so glad I'll be at Bathurst 12 hour next week, so I won't be racing.
Well, we won't see you next week. Neil Pearson, will we see you next week?
Yeah, I'll be there. Give it a go. Can't remember how I did last year. I don't think I did well, so hopefully better run next year.
Well, click those heels together 3 times and hopefully it will go well for you. Thank you so much for joining us up here in the booth and congratulations for a DPR 1-2 tonight, Mr. Andrew Dyson, Neil Pearson, and have fun at the Bathurst 12 hours.
Thanks, man. I'll see you hopefully in a few weeks' time or so. See what happens.
We'll see you again soon. Bye, boys.
Yeah.
Neil Pearson and Andrew Dyson there, DPR. So obviously we won't be seeing Dyson next week. We found that out. Ryan Jones will also be busy, so there's going to be a few drivers actually away next week, so that could be a chance for a few people to score some points, and that will be interesting to see. But let's go through the finishing order one more time. So it was Andrew Dyson taking the victory ahead of Neil Pearson in first, Foster in third position, fourth for Jaden Russell, fifth for Jason Martin, Brenton Hobson sixth, Skurlock seventh, eighth for Micklemore, ninth for Williams, Raymond in 10th. Then we flick over the page and it is Jones in 11th, 12th for Long, Wellman 13th, 14th for Phelps, Spencer 15th, 16th for Jaeger, Witcher in 17th, 18th for Clark, Jackson 19th, 20th for Curtis, 21st for Fenley, Nankervis in 22nd, Scotty Griffiths 23rd, 24th for Mr. Koch, 25th for Neil, Heddershide in 26th, 27th for Traher, Douglas, Danica Douglas in 28th position, 29th for Otto, and Tompkins rounds out the 30.
I think Danica might have hurt her wrist.
Yeah, obviously not taking her hands off the wheel. Big upset there for Danica Douglas. Hopefully she'll recover in time for next week's race at Kansas. You can catch us there, of course, on May the 11th over on the Facebook page or on the Performance e-streaming YouTube channel. Make sure to give it a like and subscribe. All of those things help, and share around as well. Share the love if you can, because it does help just get the message out and helps improve and build the league a little bit more. Of course, if you're interested, head to ANZCAR.com for more information if you wish to join the league. Of course, we run trucks on Monday night, the Xfinities on Wednesday, and then the Cup on Thursday nights. Of course, Weekend Warriors will be coming up on Saturday night. Mr. Mark Johansson, where are you off to this week?
We're at the Monster Mile Dover this week, so be interesting. The weather's looking rather cool, and a very strong wind coming this weekend. So be interesting to see what happens with the cold track temperatures.
Very interesting indeed. So if you want to look after that, head over to the Weekend Warriors page to get more details on that one. Of course, you can catch the news and results over on Locked On Lads podcast as well. The results for the ANZCAR races will be up there as well. A big thank you to Mr. Matt Hunter for doing all of the production work and getting these beautiful looking graphics up tonight. Big thanks to Mark for joining me in the booth. And as ever, I'm Carl Wilkinson wishing you a good night, and we will see you next week.